And then, of course, there is the transport sector, the one that, as I mentioned before, is 18% of Australia's emissions. Is anyone saying anything about how they're going to cut emissions? Well, of course, the reality is that we need to end petrol cars, something that they are actually planning to do in the ACT, as we talked about with Steve Price last night. The ACT claims that by 2035, no new petrol or diesel cars will be allowed to be sold in the little public service province. But interestingly, of course, that would suggest that we need to do something when it comes to electric vehicles. Well, I'll give you the tip. Electric vehicles are not that popular in Australia right now. In fact, some car sales numbers came out today, and I'll get to those in a moment. But if you actually go right now to carsales.com.au and have a look at the cars that are for sale that are electric in the ACT tonight, you'll find about 109 of them are listed. There are none under $30,000. There are none under $40,000. There are just 6 between $40,000 and $70,000. If you've got $70,000 to $90,000, we've got 62 electric cars to sell the people of the ACT. If you happen to have a little bit of that taxpayer money, $90,000 to $100,000, there are 9 electric vehicles for sale right now in the public service province. 14 are between $100,000 and $150,000, and up to $383,000, there are 18 for sale. So let's make it very clear. There are more electric vehicles for sale tonight in the ACT, over 150,000, than there are between 70 and 100,000, let alone none under $40,000. Nothing to see here. And as I mentioned, there were some car sales numbers that came out today that show us exactly what type of cars Australians are actually buying right now. And guess what? Teslas ain't the most popular cars in Australia. In fact, in the month of July, the HiLux, the Ranger, the RAV4, the CX5 were the top 4 selling cars in the entire country. And by the way, they sold more Ferraris in Australia in July than Teslas. Yet who cares, right? The politicians don't care. Their cars are paid for by us. So they can afford the $90,000, $100,000 cars, or even be generous, the $70,000 people mover. But for the rest of us, no. And the second-hand market is not very clear on electric vehicles right now, let alone repairs, let alone emergencies. But it doesn't matter. I feel good because I've got a mandate, and my mandate came from Greens and Labor preferences. In the real world, we have to pay for it. In the real world, Australians understand, is there a need to do something about climate change? You bet. The law of the land now says that we have to do 43%. Cut 43% in 7.5 years of 1% of the world's problems, while China middle fingers the rest of us all day, every day, and we have to sit back and take it. Because as I say, our job in the suburbs, our job in the bush, pay your taxes and change the channel.